Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Strawberry Hill Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Simmons, and like I always say, we are here at the Shop Cigar Lounge. Haven't came and seen us, please do. And make sure you like, share, subscribe on all our social media platforms at the Strawberry Hill Podcast. And so today we have owner and operator of one of the biggest marketing agencies around town and fast growing, Mr. Dane Moss himself. Man, what's up, man?
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah,
here.
man. I'm gonna get comfortable. I'm sorry.
I don't know who told you biggest and all where you got all those terms at.
Maybe I just like to pump you up myself because you're a good friend.
Yeah, it felt good. I like that. I might have to steal that for an intro to one of my podcasts.
Yeah, the biggest marketing group in KC and fastest growing.
I didn't even pay you to say that.
Yeah, no. Well, maybe you can.
I can.
Just pay me in cigars.
I can make that deal.
So how's it going, man?
Good, real good.
Yeah. So I guess tell the audience a little bit about yourself, man, and a little bit of background.
Where do I start? Most of the time I'm on the other side of this, so I'm going to ask all the questions.
Yeah.
So me answering the questions is a little different. But very beginning, I grew up in Kearney, Missouri, north of Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Went to high school there. Went to college in Maryville. Came out of college, worked in the car business. Through a lot. My brother and I, our dad was an owner in a dealership. And
out in Kearney?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So kind of came through those ranks and ended up seeing that there was a huge void in the marketing world, and I very much have always enjoyed the networking side of things and just being around people and helping people, and I saw that marketing could really use that. Mm-hmm. So jumped into the marketing world in 2020. Kind of a weird time to jump in.
Yeah, but, right during COVID.
I actually left the dealership 2 days before everything closed down. So I was sitting at home thinking I probably wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, that was really jacked this whole thing up. Mm-hmm. And progressed forward, and now we're here. We got roughly 30 employees, and
I think the last year when we first met, I don't even think you had more than 10.
I think when we met, I think I was right about 10.
Yeah, and you have exponentially grown.
Yeah.
That's good, man. Like I said, fastest growing.
I will take fastest growing.
Yeah.
Definitely not biggest. We got a long ways for that, but a lot of growth has happened, but it's not me anymore. I'm surrounded with a lot of great people.
Yeah.
And not just internally, but externally. I've seeked out a lot of mentorship with clients that we work with, and just really been a sponge to the game, and doing that is just really top. I feel like giving me I feel like I've kind of been given a golden ticket on business growth because I'm around so many operators every day.
You get to see different walks of life from everybody, and how, because it's not all businesses work the same. So, and you get to work with a lot of businesses and how they do things. I'm sure that you take a lot of what people are doing and like, I'm going to use that for myself.
Yeah. I got to learn a lot of things that are done well, and I see a lot of things that aren't done well. Mm-hmm. So getting to see it from both lenses is huge. And how do I implement that into our company and help drive the train forward faster and the correct way?
Yeah. So you talked about mentorship. I guess who was like when you were coming up, who was a big mentor in your life that kind of got you to say, I want more?
I'm going to say the biggest mentor in my life always was my dad. Mm-hmm. Like, my dad's always played a very monumental role in my life of thinking big and just always feeling like I can do anything. It was one of those things that a lot of kids seek. I think a lot of children seek that approval from their parents. Yeah. At some point, it was never good enough for my dad. Mm-hmm. But it made me a perfectionist. It made me obsessed with becoming better. And I think it made me find what it was like chasing progression all the time. And my dad was the hardest worker in the room all the time. When I saw it, my dad did it. He walked the walk. He wasn't somebody that talked about it. And getting to see that growing up and getting to see what winning really looked like made it to where I didn't want anything else.
Yeah. And so he was in the car dealership. Like, did he own one or did?
So he owned a dealership, but before that, right out of when he was early 20s, he opened up had a bar for 26 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it still there?
No, he closed it down 6 months before I turned 21. So
he I
never had a drink there.
Oh, man.
I mean, I was 8 years old eating catfish on Fridays there at the bar and everything, but I never got to have a drink there. And he said, I never opened a bar for my kids to drink in it.
Yeah.
He goes, I opened it for myself to party. So
I like your dad.
Yeah. But he said the way he did business, he had a big lawn and landscape company. Mm-hmm. He had Worlds of Fun, Oceans of Fun, Air World Center, big commercial side, scaled it, moved into the mortgage world and got really big in the mortgage side of things and did really well. Stepped into the car world thinking that it was going to have a different outcome than it did. Mm-hmm. And he's actually back in the mortgage world now. And after my brother and I stepped out of the dealership space, he ended up exiting also. But he's just always showed us a way of doing business. Just do it with the right morals and ethics as you go. And don't put money first in anything you do. Mm-hmm. And if you're not putting money at the forefront of everything, you just do right by people, the outcome will end up being what it's supposed to be.
Yep. I like that because I feel like I try to do that. It's like people here, I always like to say, like, it's not about like the money and like how much you spend here. It's kind of like the environment. I want you to come in and feel welcome. You know, it's all about building relationships. I think that's huge. So how did you get into, I know like your dad was a mentor, and is that the reason why you went into like the car dealership world?
I'm going to say at that point I was chasing money. The young me when I was rock bottom in college, and Mass and I were riding a scooter around everywhere because I couldn't put gas in my truck, and I was eating ramen and canned chicken. It wasn't fun. And
isn't it always funny to kind of look back? Not that like we're like millionaires here, but just to look back like, man, I struggled back then.
Struggle was real.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, though, the way I present myself, I present it that I never struggled.
Mm-hmm. Same here. Yeah. Everything's always good.
Yeah. That wasn't something that anybody needed to know. Mm-hmm. And when Mass and I first met in college, of course, everyone thought I had a lot of money because I had the nicest truck at college. And it was, most of the time it couldn't move because I couldn't put gas in it. And it was like, my dad had money. I did not have money. There's a big difference. My dad was always very firm on that. Mm-hmm. That he goes, I've been successful. He goes, you boys have not. And our dad did not give us things, and that was the false narrative that a lot of people made, was that we just had everything given to us. And going from that spot in college, being at that rock bottom, I'm not going to say I did well in school. That I always feel like I had a different skill set, and I felt that the hospitality and sales and service is a way, there's a position to be able to stand out a lot more. Yeah. And I got a college degree. I have a degree in geology and minored in physics.
A degree in theology?
Geology.
Oh, geology. I was like, oh, yeah.
Rocks and jocks, buddy. Gotcha. And then I minored in physics and did well in school, but it was just I didn't have a passion for it. And the car world, I saw instant money. I saw money I could go be made now. And it's that I don't have a lot of patience. And I think that's something I've acquired a lot more of as I've progressed forward. But at that point, I just wanted it then. I wanted to give Madison something different that she hadn't had with me. And right out of college, I went into the car space and I made a lot of money. Yeah. And that's all I had at that point was money. But
I'm sure that it wasn't like money that you were saving.
Well, I didn't have any time to spend it.
Because you're working.
I worked 12-hour days, Monday through Saturday. Monday through Thursday, my brother and I opened up a detail company to detail our wholesale cars. So I cleaned cars from 8 to midnight, Monday through Thursday.
So it sounds like you've always been a hustler.
Yeah.
And it's probably instilled to you by your dad.
Yeah. Everything I do, I don't look at there's not a point of, you can fail at things and you can misstep and you can mess something up, but you learn from every one of those. But there's no such thing as losing for me. Everything I've always done, I've excelled at and I've won at it, and whatever it may be. And I think that's just a mindset that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah. It's like you're not failing, you're not losing, you're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're learning, but it's also I'm calculating what I do, and it's like it's just the press forward all the time, and it's a lot of times most people hit a hard time, that's when they quit.
Yeah.
And I don't have that quit in me, and I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to hustle. And I've had to definitely learn as we've moved forward that the business where it's at now, I can't out hustle anymore. I have to be more.
Got to find a different route.
I got to be smarter with my time of what does true movement look like. That I can't go put in 100 hours in a week, and my time isn't going to calculate enough to move the business forward. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Where early days it did. When there was 3 to 5 of us, Dane just hustles a little bit harder that week. I can create some movement. Yeah. Now the movement is so big and the numbers get so large that you have to start figuring out it's a much more calculated move to be able to move the whole ship forward. I don't have enough strength anymore by myself. Yeah. I don't have enough hours in a week to move it individually. Yeah. So it's how do you develop others? And so it's became much more, that's why our growth has happened this year. I pulled myself out of the system and I put myself more into developing of other people.
That's good. You're trusting more people now. Kind of have to.
There's no choice.
Yeah, because you can't do it all.
No.
Yeah, because a lot of people tell me, and I'm still getting used to it. I'm still trying to do it, but you can't be, or you don't want to be an employee of your own business.
100%.
Yeah, and it's hard. Definitely, starting out, because I'm almost year 2. And I don't know how many you guys. What 2020? So 2020.
So we're 4.5 right now.
40 here, yeah. So it's. I know you're probably almost there, but it's tough not to be an employee of your own business.
So it's something that a lot of the mentorship I found in business, a lot of that was the same thing I was getting from a lot of people was to pull myself back. Yeah, was to start learning high level business more. Start getting yourself in the right rooms and. A lot of people want to get in those rooms with those mentors, but they don't bring any value to the table. And you're not going to sit in that room if you have no value. Yep. So I really started buckling down, and I'm going to say I'm a little weird at night, but I watch YouTube videos every night of marketing. I watch documentaries on Walt Disney, on the Rockefellers, J.P. Morgan, Ford, the McDonald's. Like, I'm obsessed with that. Good. You got to keep that drive going too. Yeah. I feel like my drive continues to get bigger and bigger as I progress forward, but the dream is ending up becoming larger and larger with the people around me. So that's, I think, the coolest part of it. Especially when you're getting people around you that want the business to grow just like you do. You got people that are hungry that have that almost same vision as you, so you got to kind of all right, we're going in the same direction. So I think where a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs fail at that is they go through this. I'm going to say that early trenches of business is the hardest thing that you're ever going to go through. And experiencing that, the second you find comfort and the second it kind of opens up and that pressure is relieved off your shoulders. I hit it at the beginning of this year. I went through probably 3 or 4 months. I kind of backed off. I was like, financially, we're moving. Yeah. I'm not buckled down to this all day, every day. And I was like, this is great. But I started seeing that it was it would have been end of March. I started seeing the A players I had, that they weren't vested like they were. I saw that they were backing off the gas. And that's why I pulled the trigger on the second office. I pulled the trigger on that second office in 30 minutes. Did you just get it? April 15th. We were in the River Market beginning of the year. Oh, yeah. So we did move, So we had 4,000 square feet in the River Market. We moved to 8,200 square feet in the Crossroads. And when I pulled the trigger on that, it was because myself as a leader, I have one job that's held above all else. And this is something, if you want to have A players, you have to focus on this all the time, is they're not allowed to see the end of that runway. My job is to make sure they never see that. Yep. And when they started seeing that in the River Market, we we were climbing up, that the 12 people in the office, it was getting full. And I knew that they didn't picture us holding any more than 15 to 17 in that office. Mathematically, it didn't work. So they're seeing that as the cap. So office goes on market over in the Crossroads. I go look at it in 30 minutes. I'm talking with my agent, and I was like, make an offer on it. This is what I want to do. I was like, get the deal done.
All right, so pull the trigger on the building, and then you guys moved
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Weekend, we rolled up in trucks. There's 20 of us. We had all the girls at the new office. We were pulling in, backing trucks in one after another, unloading everything. And really just, we left Friday from the old office, and that Friday I'd called. I had all internet set up at the new office. And Monday we were fully operational in a new location.
Jeez.
And,
Eastside. Go ahead.
But it was something that the dollar and cent to it is what most people get tied up on. But to me, the movement of the people in there is so much more important. That I saw a whole new fire on Monday from the whole group. Yeah. And then we went from, I think we moved in with 12 people or so. And I mean, we've almost at 30 now. And it's like, they saw that runway was open back up. Now with almost 30 people, that office is getting pretty full. So we signed on another.
Just got a building, yeah. It was like yesterday, right?
Yesterday we signed on a second lease for another 7,000 square feet on the other side of Crossroads.
So you'll have both?
Yep. And I actually have 2 more people starting. I have another one starting this coming Monday and another one the following Monday. And when we open up that new office, I'll probably pull the trigger on 10 more people at the first of the year to fill out that office. But what's really unique too is we've had the sales side, not having a sales department and now having sales is something that's really amplifying the company a lot. And I've done all the sales up to this point. They've all been off our social ads. They've all been off referrals. And so we haven't went and tried to get any business.
Are you wanting to?
Now it's January 1 of this year, we didn't have a single software in place. We didn't have really a process. And it's pretty much just everyone was there handling the work. So 2024 will go down as the year that we put processes in place, that we have softwares now, that we have Salesforce that the whole sales side runs into the marketing side. We have onboarding processes. We have Notion that the whole marketing team runs through. We have a full creative director that she comes up with all the creative plans for every shoot. Our content guys, when they go out, they have a full process that they follow. It comes back in, it's plugged in. We have editors now on the backside of Notion that they're going through what the content plan was to edit it. They have deadlines of when that stuff has to be back. It goes back into the marketing team for distribution, ad build out, everything.
So you got just a plan for everything, which is needed. Yeah.
Which now it's like the complexity of communication multiplies so fast with business. And that's, you read Scale Up, they talk about out of every 100 businesses that break 7 figures, only one will ever break 8. And between 7 and 8 figures is where processes come into place. You can have a business with no processes. I broke 7 figures as a company with no processes. And now we're breaking an 8-figure company with processes in place. But the weird thing is now with all these processes in place, I left for Texas last Thursday morning, came back Sunday night, and I didn't get a call. I'm sitting there, I'm like,
is everything working?
I'm like, what's happening? I called my brother on Sunday at the airport, and I was like, hey, I just want to, nobody called me Thursday or Friday. He goes, yeah, we actually had 3 accounts that reach out. We onboarded 3 accounts on Thursday and Friday, and we had all this stuff happening. The content guys, everything was offloaded, everything's edited, it's over to the marketing team, all distribution's right. And I'm just like,
this shit's working.
I was like, do you guys need me?
Yeah.
I was like,
what do I need to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So but that's where I saw with that office filling up, how do I open the runway up? So I went out seeking another location, and I think we'll probably be signing on another location by June.
So a third one.
Yeah. And I'll probably have 3 to 4 individual locations before we start building, but then I'm going to build something big, and I'll bring everyone back into one spot.
Yeah. Get just like a one kind of centralized, or not centralized, but one home base, pretty much.
That's something I don't talk to people about, because when I tell people about it, they think it sounds crazy, which my thing is, if you don't sound crazy, your dreams aren't big enough.
Yeah.
And 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago when I started this, the first person I ever even brought up the idea to, he told me that 98% of business owners fail in the first 2 years. I have a Dom bottle from every year since MMG's been open that June 30th of 2020 was the first check I collected. I started doing work at the beginning of June, but at the front side of MMG, we took payments in the rear. So I don't believe a company is a company until someone pays you.
Very true.
So June 30th, 2020, I collect a check, and I opened up a Dom bottle that night by myself and my wife. That bottle has my signature and my signature only, and one quote on it that says 98% of companies fail in the first 2 years. I have that bottle from each year. This last year, the bottle is covered in signatures of everyone that's at that company now. And those will line the top of my office.
Yeah.
And my new sales spot too.
That's awesome.
I look at those things as it fuels you, and there's going to be people that doubt you. And as it progresses, more and more people doubt us. A lot of the people that follow us are following us to watch us fall.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And I say to those people, just keep watching. It's going to be a
watching.
long ride.
Yeah. I got the same thing when I opened here. I mean, you get the same people. Like, you got to make it your first 2 years and all that stuff. And, you're putting a cigar lounge in that area. Like, I don't know. And you got to do this and that. It's like, you got to believe in yourself. You can't listen to all those people that are trying to hate on you and trying to kind of bring you down. Because if they're not in your head. They don't see your vision.
That's the hard thing, is no one's going to see that vision the way you see it. And my thing was, like, I talked about a day when we got a big enough spot where I could put a full podcast bus inside the office.
I saw that.
People were like, "Oh, that's crazy," blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why is that crazy? Like, and that's not even, like, financially, that wasn't even, like, cost me like $10,000. Like, and a lot of people were saying that's crazy. I was like, if you want me to tell you some crazy shit that I'm going to do in the future,
just hold on. Yeah.
But, like, I just look at it as those are the fun things. Those are things that content are made around. Those are things that people follow. People follow. That's when I talk about Walt Disney, like, the research Walt Disney did on how far to place trash cans away from each other. That somebody will walk 27 feet before they drop a piece of trash. He did full research studies on that, to place trash cans, and then to build trash cans to where people don't even notice that they're there.
Yep.
That he changes the concrete underneath your feet between each exhibit and where you're at. That was the way that he thought and that he operated, that he thought of the crazy thing that no one else would.
Yeah.
That they didn't think was a big deal.
All the little minute details matter.
It does.
And it might not, like, your consumer or customer might not notice it, but it makes a difference.
It does.
And it's like, I do it in here. Like, everything,
and you can tell.
Everything is placed where it should be placed because it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
Like an aesthetic look, or like mints. I have mints in the bathroom. I have mints before you walk out. I have mints by the register. It's like, there's all little things of, like, I know what works and what people kind of need that they don't really even know.
The first time I came here and I went to the restroom, that was the first thing I noticed, actually. Was the restrooms are where I see in all kinds of places that people do 95%, they skip the last 5% in a restroom.
Yep.
I spent $4,000 doing my 4 bathrooms. It was like, you want that stupid money to spend in my head, but it's like, those are the small things that people recognize. I spend $1,200 a month on pallets of water, but when people come in, the water that they get is branded to us.
Yep.
I look at every single thing from when somebody comes into my office, from the second the door is open, to I've trained the staff on how they interact with people when they're coming through the office, that everyone gets up and introduces themselves and welcomes them to the office. I have music playing 100% of the time in the office. Like, you look at all these, like, small things, that's what adds up to the big picture.
Yep.
And most of the time when people start scaling, they forget about those. As we've scaled, I focus more on those. Then I'm like, how do I make the experience 1% better?
Yeah, I like that, because I go back to the mentality we talked about earlier. It's like, and I got it from being a cop. It's like once you get comfortable, you get vulnerable. Like you don't ever want to be comfortable. You always want to be thinking on your feet, and you always want to think about the next thing and what you need to be doing next. You don't, like you said, you don't ever want to get to a spot. You're like, oh, I'm good. I'm just going to sit back, relax. So that's when your company starts dying.
Which I think people that go into business and they want to be a entrepreneur or whatever it is that they're trying to do, I think sometimes they get into it for the wrong reason, and they get into a state where they're trying to make a set dollar amount a year. Once they get there, they're comfortable. Mm-hmm. My deal is, I get asked all the times, like, what's the end spot for you? I was like, I don't have one.
There's not. Yeah, I get asked that too. What's your goal? It's like, my goal is to keep going. I don't have a goal. Like, what do you mean? Like, that is my goal. It's like to keep making this place one of the best spots around, and like I'm gonna keep doing it. My goal is to, like, I always have like 3 goals I want to hit. And like one of my major goals is like to be the best cigar lounge in the country, and also to be one of the best attractions in Kansas City. And then it's like, once I hit that, it's like, what's next? Like, I'm not just comfortable hitting that. Like, you got to keep wanting to move, because like you don't want to become like, do you get to a point where you have nothing to obtain?
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, happiness is found in progression. Mm-hmm. And I live by that every single day. That was my headline pretty much on my post I put up yesterday. And I know a lot of people with a lot of money, way more money than most people even dream of. Mm-hmm. I'm talking people that have sold companies for $100 million plus, that they have all the money in the world. And then I see people that aren't happy.
Yep.
And I think I saw that in the car world really young. And I saw guys that they had the money, they had what most people are always thinking that they're striving for, to find happiness. And they had that, and they hadn't found happiness. Mm-hmm. That I know more individuals that have scaled huge companies that have lost, that did that instead of prioritizing their children. And they have children that have OD'd. They've had wives that have committed suicide or whatever it is. And it's like all these things that, like, the important thing to me is the people that are around me. That's way more important than any amount of money. And once we really started just driving for helping people, and we're involved with a lot of charitable side of things now. And as we progress, I have a set number of accounts. Every time I hit it, we take on another charity. And like right now, I do T-shirts that are fully given away.
I need to get one of those.
So it's happened today at like 4 to 6. Mm-hmm. And beginning of every month, I buy $5,000 worth of shirts. I give them all away, open donation. I eat the cost of all the shirts. And then, so last month we did $4,000 to Big Brothers Big Sisters. Mm-hmm. This month we'll give it all to PAL, which will give them the money for Christmas hoodies for all these kids.
Yep.
And that's a bigger purpose and a bigger movement. That's what makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes where I speak with business owners, and every single thing they talk about is the financial side. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what's the purpose behind what you do? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think it was because I found such a high level of money at 21 years old.
Yeah.
And it was like
money ain't everything.
And I was at the top of the car game.
Yeah.
Fast. Like, my brother and I, like, we were the young guns in the car world, and there's not a lot of young blood in the car world. And I went from having no money in college to having all the money I could dream of, to do anything I wanted, to buy anything I wanted.
Yeah.
And I was 1,000 times more unhappy at that point. I was way happier when I was eating ramen, canned chicken, Mass and I were riding around on a scooter. I mean, I look back at those days, I didn't appreciate them enough. Mm-hmm. That it was, when I could buy a 30-pack of Busch Light, I was happy.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's like true happiness. You're like, oh, I made it. I could buy this, and I'm good for the weekend, and I got my ramen. But I used to go to Taco Bell and get the Grande pack, and they used to like be good for me for like a week.
Yeah. And in college, it was funny. So my dad cut me off, and it was the best thing he ever did. At the time, I thought I was a huge asshole for it. Mm-hmm. And took my credit card away. So when I'd say I had no money, I had no money. And I would go to the bookstore. If you bought at the bookstore, you could use your financial aid to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I would go, and it was like my little college hack. I go buy all these $100 Visa cards when they get them. I go spend like $1,200 on Visa gift cards. Mm-hmm. And then that's how I took Madison dinner the whole time we were in college. So Madison and I would eat at Applebee's. They had the 2 for $25, and then we'd go to A&G up at Maryville. And it was I took Madison out to dinner all the time. That was like my thing was when I was with her, I told her I'd take her out to dinner every single week, and I did it on Visa gift cards.
That's awesome.
I pay for them now, but
yeah.
I can cover it.
I used to donate plasma all the time in college. It was a quick like $30-$40.
Did that hurt?
No, I think I just got used to it because I did so much. I was like, hey, $30-$40 got me over for the weekend. Like, hey, that's enough to give me a couple drinks and some food. Yeah. I'm good.
But no, I think it's actually important that people go through that. Mm-hmm. That they figure out what rock bottom feels like. And I feel like that's what gives you the drive. And I also think some people will take when someone says they can't do something and they just like brush it off. Mm-hmm. I've always used that as like, tell me I can't do something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So it makes me want to do it more.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's just, I don't know, I think those like leading into business, like business has been phenomenal. Like, and it's been something that I feel like I've just had a knack for. And I've been really good at connecting people, and I connect people all the time. That there's no benefit in it for me, but it's funny how many times there ends up being a benefit for me somewhere in the backside further down the road.
Yeah.
That it's, I don't set it up for that. I set it up to help two people.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there's a big fund manager that has been connected to two friends of mine that I connected him with. And I mean, he raised well in 7 figures from 2 people on a big, huge multifamily deal. And he reached out to me and he's like, dude, I can't appreciate you enough. I'm like, I'm not even putting money into it yet.
Yeah.
But it's just the connection points. Mm-hmm. And now we're in the space of really trying to leverage private equity backing. The future years, 25, I'm going to start becoming a private equity broker.
Yeah.
We have the players now with the money to back companies. Mm-hmm. We're getting into commercial real estate purchasing. And
that's what I want to get. See, you're like me, man. It's like, I just don't want to do this. Like, I want to get into real estate. I want to buy estate. I think me and you think quite a bit alike. Yeah.
And I feel that I have the relationships. I have all the right pieces in place. Mm-hmm. The more things I plug in, I don't have to go find the clientele for it.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time. It's like, use the people you know. Like, use your relationships. Like, to build you and them. Like it just doesn't make sense if you know a lot of people and you know a lot of important people and people that you know that can build, things and build a community and everything, and you don't do anything with it.
But I think most people always think of every conversation they're in, how's it leverage themselves? Mm-hmm. How do they win in it?
Yeah, yeah.
Life is a chess game. Mm-hmm. Business is a chess game. Mm-hmm. You're playing a long game.
Yep.
And I read people real fast. I can read people that they don't have the heart to help anyone else. And those are the people that I'm not going to go to bat for them. I'm not going to do a lot for them. Mm-hmm. And but I do know a lot of great business owners out there. And I don't know what the relationship looks like in the future. I don't know how it ever comes back around to me. Mm-hmm. But if they need help now, I'm going to be the one that helps them.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that there's people I helped 2 years ago that's coming back around to me now. And so many people try to play a short-term game. You play small, you win small.
Yep.
You play long, you win big.
Mm-hmm.
And Rome wasn't built overnight. And I look at the greatest things in life take time. And it's first 2 years of business, I was helping a lot of people. I was doing a lot of things. And I was like, dude, I'm not feeling it on my side. Not feeling it over here. And
needs to be reciprocated. Come on, guys.
Come on, somebody help me out. And it was like, I just felt like I was bleeding dry over and over and over. And as we move forward, it's came back around.
It's a long game.
It pans out. Mm-hmm. And my wife all the time, she told me, she goes, just keep being you, keep doing things that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And she goes, keep doing people right. She goes, it'll take you places in life.
Yeah. So what got you out of that 9 to 5 kind of you working at the car dealership? What was like I need to do this?
The dealership was not 9 to 5.
Well,
it was 8 to 8 every day. So
what got you out of that? Like, I need to do something else.
It was one person questioning my worth. And I had a lot of built up anger in the front side of it. Mm-hmm. That my job was going to change, a lot of things were going to change, and it was somebody I had a lot of respect for at the time. And he questioned my worth, and it was in front of someone else, and the guy that was in that office, I'm still great friends with today. I talk to him all the time, and he's a phenomenal human being. But to have someone question your worth and also based on age, it didn't sit well with me. And when that happened, I went into my dad and I told him I was going to go out and do something different. And he told me, he goes, it's time for you to show the world what you can do. Mm-hmm. And the other problem I had a lot, too, was my dad owned the dealership, so everything I did, no matter how hard I worked, it was dad owned the place.
Yeah. Yep.
So nobody looked at me as my own person, and it was my brother, same way. That my brother's been with me since, I think, 3 months after I opened the company. I hired my brother, and I called him. I was like, dude, I don't know where this goes. I don't know what it looks like, but I can promise you one thing, we're going to have a better life. Mm-hmm. I was like, you're going to take a huge pay cut. I was like, I took a huge pay cut. And I was like, but life is not supposed to look like that. Mm-hmm. And he talked to my dad, and my dad said, you two go out together. He goes, do it. He goes, don't worry about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
My dad says today, the worst thing he ever did was get into the car business. He said the best thing he's ever done is get into the car business. Mm-hmm. He goes, for myself personally, he goes, the car business was the worst business move I ever made. He goes, as a father, the car business was the best move I ever made.
Yeah.
So he said, he goes, it built you and your brother and gave you guys a spot to learn. He goes, it gave you guys a spot to network. He goes, it gave you guys a spot to do all of those things that you guys need to do to grow into men. And he goes, you guys learned a different level of work through there. He goes, you guys learned the hardest of the hard right out the gate. He goes, you guys didn't get to experience easy. And he goes, and now you guys took that out. And he goes, and it's showing in the world what you learned. Mm-hmm. So it was I've never had the thought process of a 9 to 5. Like, it was never I opened a landscape company at 15, made $70,000 in 3 months doing that.
My dad's trying to get me to take over his landscaping and lawn care. I'm like, man, I want to. I'm itching for it just to do something else. Because, I mean, I love this place. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like, I want to keep growing. Keep growing.
And that side of it was, once again, like at 15 years old, I understood. My dad always told us work smarter, not harder. And I didn't understand it probably until 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. Taking me 29 years to try to figure it out. Mm-hmm. But when I got into landscaping, a lot of my buddies had a push mower or something like that. They're out mowing yards. My dad, all growing up, we had skid loaders and everything. I learned how to start hardscaping at 12 years old. Mm-hmm. We'd rip out all of our retaining walls every year, rebuild all of our retaining walls. We go from 3 to 5, 5 to 3 every year. Mm-hmm. And we had these 2 big, huge staircases that went up both sides of the house. And I knew how to anchor walls back. I knew how to rock them right, level them all, like the whole nine.
Dad was working you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And growing up, like, where kids have chores nowadays that's taking out trash or doing dishes, like, if our dad ever had to ask for those things, a lot bigger problems on the table. Like, the real chores were everything outside. It was the big, big stuff.
Yeah.
And so at 15, my dad gave me a brand new truck, F-350 dually, all tricked out. And he said, free to go where you want. He goes, you get pulled over, I'm going to say you stole it. And I've been driving a skid loader since I was 9. Like, tractors and stuff since I was a kid. Like, I mean, we were running and gunning out the house all the time. And he goes, you drive better than anybody I know. And 15 years old, I'm pulling a 30-foot race trailer by myself down into the plaza, loaded up with trees and everything, and doing these big, huge landscape jobs. And my dad said, don't go around here. He goes, go where the money's at and go knock doors. 15 years old. And he's like, you tuck your shirt in everywhere. He goes, you present well. So I started this company. I'm knocking doors down there, and I end up running into the Villas of Plaza West. And they have this patch of grass that's probably like 12 by fucking 25 that they mow, and they trim some bushes out front. And I'm like, at that point, I would have done it for like $25. I was like, that seems like the simplest job of anything I've seen. And I get their maintenance bill, and it's $4,000 a month. The lady goes, if you can beat this, you can have the whole entire deal.
Like, all right, 39,000.
I go, how about 3,500?
Yeah.
And she goes, all right, you got it. I was like, I come home, and I immediately, at 15 years old, I was like, I'm making it. And my dad's like, the checks are all coming to me. And so then her brother is the builder on all these houses on the backside. They're $1 million+ houses. I do the first one. I end up contracting out all the rest. My dad's like, you go down to the rock company where you've been getting all the rock. He goes, grab every card. You call every single landscaper in Kansas City. You have them come out, bid every single job. He goes, I'm going to show you how to make real money.
Yeah.
So I made all this money that summer, really not even – I did one big landscape job and maintenance, and then the other 10 houses were all done subcontracted. And so my brand new truck in college was from me doing that.
Yeah. So you get to work for everything.
Yeah. My dad walked me in at the end of that summer. I got a brand new F-150 Lariat. It sits in my garage at home still. It's got 80,000 miles on it. I put every mile on that truck since it was new. But just doing those things, like the dealership world, I was very set with working with my dad and my brother. That was the best part of it. And funny enough, in the dealership space, when we worked together, we didn't get along at all. Now, I mean, I talk to my dad every morning when I drive in. I talk to him every day when I drive home.
Yeah.
I love working with my brother every day, and we hang out every single weekend. And relationship-wise, it was all for the better.
Yeah, good. It's That seems like your dad was a huge, like piece in your life.
Oh, no question. Yeah, it's like I owe it all to him. And as I've gotten older, I still have all the respect in the world for him. But then it's like he even tells me, he goes, "You've surpassed me as a business person." And he goes, as a businessman, he goes, he knows where I'm at, and he knows what I've done now. And
I'm a Dr. Philia.
Okay.
Like you finally feel like you got that approval?
Oh, he tells me all day, every day, how much he approves of it now, and how proud he is. And like my dad's, I have a 15-year-old little sister, and she's made my dad soft. My dad was not soft before.
I feel you, man, because when I was growing up, my dad was so hard on me. And then, like, now I have a little brother. He's 21 now. But, like, and then, now he has grandkids and my kids. But he's gotten soft. I'm like, this is not the dad I grew up with.
I know. Sometimes I want to call my dad. I want him to, like, lecture me. I want him to tell me, like, do it fucking better.
He's like, oh, things be all right. You'll be good.
He's like, I'm so proud of you boys because you guys are just out there killing it. He's like, he goes, every day I'm somewhere, and he goes, everyone asks about you too. I'm like,
where's the tough love? Give me the tough love.
I need that. I'm not doing good enough.
Yeah. I need that drive, especially from you. So let's get in the fun stuff. Speaking of bourbon, you do a lot of bourbon and taco reviews. Do you want some more?
Yeah, sure.
Here, I'll let you pour it.
You pour it.
I gotcha. But I see that I know that's a little bit of the fun part of what you do. You get to go out and do the taco reviews. How did you come up with that?
So I'm going to say this on here, so I'm hoping not too many people see it. But the taco reviews have kind of turned into a huge inconvenience.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, we've done them for 90-something weeks straight.
Yeah.
Dude, Tuesdays sneak up on me so fast, and I have so many things booked out every week. And the taco reviews in the front side were to really do something that was different. And the funny thing is, as a marketing company, we have outmarketed every other marketing company in the Midwest, like times 100.
Yeah.
I don't care how big they are. Like some of the biggest marketing firms in the country sit in Kansas City, and they can't compete with us marketing themselves. And it's like, and I know people at those firms, and they're going to say, you guys don't even compete with us. Just wait.
Just wait.
The only thing they have on us right now is time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I look at those kind of things, that if you can't figure out how to market yourself, it's pretty wild that you sell that to other people.
Yeah.
So my thing was, I don't want to talk about marketing all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
I like talking about business owners. A lot of times, marketing helps. I can get you more leads. I can help you get employees. We can help you do all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have operations issues? Do you have sales issues?
Yeah.
Do you have accounting issues? There's a lot of things that make up a business. It's not just marketing. And everyone's like, normally it's pretty wild that the marketing guy says that. But I'm like, I go into companies all the time. I was like, marketing's not your problem yet.
Yep.
It's going to be, but not yet. You got a lot bigger problems before you even touch on marketing. So the taco reviews, the podcast, all those other things were just to create multiple touch points. Like, I think bourbons became kind of a problem, but
it could get an expensive problem.
That's what I'm saying. It's a financial problem.
I've been a big bourbon guy for years, and it's just like I had to chill out for a while because it's just like, man, how much am I spending a month on bourbon? Like, ooh.
When I was down in Texas, I bought a second suitcase shipping bourbon back.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I can't find any of this shit at home."
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I knew I was pulling the trigger on a second office, and I have a big bourbon collection at my current office. I have a big bourbon collection at home, and now I'm building out another bourbon collection from a new office. And my best clients are people I sit down and smoke cigars with, and I drink bourbon.
There you go. That's my kind of client.
It is. Like, I look at the people I work with, I truly, they became friends. Like, I don't look at it as, most marketing companies play from a vendor position. I don't need one account.
Yeah.
I never need one account. And it's funny how many people call and they act like they're like, they're going to call and I'm going to like bow down to them.
Just drop everything. Like, yes, we need you.
I'm like, go ahead. I get 600 leads a month. We get to pick and choose clients that we take on all day, every day.
Yeah.
I don't need one account that bad. I look at it as, if it's going to be a partnership and we're both on level playing field, I'll take it on.
Yeah. That's how I kind of do this place now. Because I got to the point now, it's like, I don't need a ton of members. It's like, now I get to be like picky on who I want in because it's a family here.
It is.
And I tell people, like, when they sign up, it's like, hey, you're part of the family now.
Yeah.
So like, I get to be kind of picky and choosy because like, you got to be a good fit.
Yeah.
Like, because if you're not a good fit, then you could bring my company down, to be honest. So it's just like, I feel you on that one. It's like, I don't need everybody. Like,
you let like 2 or 3 shitty people in that sit here and no one wants to be around them. And I come in here 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude,
like, I don't want to come
that
back.
one dude sitting in there every time messing with me. I don't want to talk to that guy. He's coming up to me every time. I'm going to avoid the place. And then next year I'm just like, hey, I don't want to be a member.
Yep.
Like, so it is like, it's crucial. And I've struggled with that a little bit employment wise. I've went through those phases that I've let the wrong people in my walls. And I'm going to say it's something I've worked on a lot this year is sometimes people's skill level still doesn't mean they should be there.
Not everybody's a good fit.
I had one of the greatest videographers that probably had come through my doors and parted ways with him recently. And everything he said to my face, he's done the complete opposite. Dude's flat out a liar. Like, and I hate being like, I'm not going to say anything else. That's a factual statement.
Yeah.
I'm not talking illy about him in any way. Dude's great at what he does, but I wouldn't break bread with the dude ever again in my life.
Yeah.
And to let somebody like that in your walls, it's hard. I've had people that have great skill sets that sit around me that it's like, I want them, they're so bad, but the type of person they are isn't right.
Yep.
And it's like, my biggest pet peeve in life is people that lie. Like, I can't deal with it.
I can't stand liars.
And the worst thing is like when people lie straight to your face and you know that they're lying. That's the fastest way for me never to respect you, I'll never help. It's just like I lose everything. And it's like good, bad, and different. I call clients all the time. I have bad news for them. I have something we dropped the ball on. We're growing. I'm going through growing pains. I'm not saying we're perfect in any way, shape, or form. And it's like, I had a couple content guys that they took a whole week where they didn't edit anything and they didn't make it up line to me. And then they all try to walk out at once thinking they're going to get over on me. literally overnight, I hired 7 editors outside the office to cover this. But the other thing, too, is like those guys thought that they were going to sink the ship. Mm-hmm. They legitimately, in their head, thought that they created a big enough problem to sink what I had built and what the team had built. And I was like, what you miss is money can buy a lot of things. Mm-hmm. There's a difference at the table. Is like, I do have money to be able to fix those problems. Mm-hmm. I will figure out a way. And it's hard when you look at something like this, that you put great people inside of here. Yeah. And it's like, you can be 2 or 3 people away from having all kinds of problems. Mm-hmm. And every time I've sat there and I've always looked at the best in people, and I've given people the benefit of the doubt, and I've given people my trust, and I've given people everything I can. And then to watch people cross me, one of the things I work really hard on now too is just not becoming cold. Yeah. And not.
Yeah, there's some shitty people out there.
A lot.
Yeah. And it's just like, that's just nature of the beast. I learned that being a cop. It's like, you can be the best cop and the nicest person in the world. There's still people that are going to try to fuck you over, even if you're trying to help them out. You're just like, dude, what? I'm trying to help you. Yeah. Yeah. And you'll see it in the business world too. As you said, it's just like, there's some shitty people out there. And it sucks.
It's sad. And you see it internally, and I've seen it externally. I've seen it with there's a lot of people that have no business being business owners. Mm-hmm. Like, it's everyone else's fault. They take no ownership in anything that they're doing. Yeah. My thing is, all the wins of MMG, I don't take. That's my team. I'm not out on a camera every day. That's not me. I'm not building ads every day. My team is phenomenal. Yeah. When something's messed up, that's what I get on. Mm-hmm. That's my time to step up. That's when I get to be accountable. Yep. And there's all these business owners out there that want to take all the credit for the good, and then when something bad happens,
they blame everybody else.
Hey, that was his fault. Mm-hmm. And they wonder why people don't follow them. Yep. Why are the Chiefs as great as they are right now? Patrick Mahomes is a leader.
Yeah, he takes accountability for everything. Anything bad. Yeah.
I have so much respect for him as a human being. You take out the football aspect of it. Mm-hmm. That dude, when it gets to every interview he's in, when the Chiefs win, you see him on a press box afterwards saying that Kelsey had a great game. Yeah. That Worthy came in and did this. That Andy Reid was great. There is no way, shape, or form he's taking any credibility for that win. Yeah. But when they lose,
it's all him.
He gets up there and it's all his fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it showed last year. He was like, all those receivers dropping. He never, not once did he say, yeah, they should have caught the ball, or he's like, no, it's my fault. Yeah, I should have thrown a little bit better, or I should have did this play a little
ESPN,
better.
Every platform out there, Sports Center, everything is telling like Chiefs have no receivers, anything. Yeah, you know how easy it would have been for him to turn his shoulder and say, dude, I don't have anybody to catch a ball. Yeah, but he got up there; it's his fault. If you're going to be a leader, you get a lead. You have to lead through the bad times, and that's where I see a lot of people, and I see it with business owners, and I see people call me, and they're like, well, this guy messed this up, and I'm just like, I start losing respect, and I'm just like, dude, you're the one that opened it. Mm-hmm. This is your company. Mm-hmm. If that person's messing up, you didn't train them right. Yeah. You haven't given them the resources they need. Where have you messed up in the progression forward with yourself and your company? You haven't put the processes in place to give them the right tools to succeed. Or if it's lack of knowledge to lack of execution, I live on that all the time. Mm-hmm. That if I look to somebody and it's like, hey, lack of execution, if this is something you have been trained on and you're not executing it, then it's something I might need to eliminate somebody and bring somebody in that is willing to do it. But if it's a lack of knowledge, that's wrong on me to get on that person. Mm-hmm. That's something I have to look back at in the mirror. And sometimes it's further down the line and say, hey, I didn't do the correct thing with the leadership team to then effectively train this person further down the line. So it's the accountability side is huge. And I live by extreme ownership. I make
a little Jocko. There you go.
Yep. I make our whole entire leadership team read that book like every 6 months.
I've read that book like 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
And the funny thing is the same thing with like traction. Like I read a lot, and a lot of these books I read, it's funny as I read them, I'll normally read a lot of them every 6 to every 12 months. And it's not even always reading them. I might just listen to it in the gym again. Mm-hmm. And it's funny how you get different things out of it each time as you further progress. Mm-hmm. that traction. The first time I read it, it was talking about a leadership team. It was talking about all these different things to do and the setting your core values and getting those all outlined. And I read that when I was like 2, my brother and I.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll definitely do those things when I'm that size. But earlier this year, I'm in Mexico on the beach reading traction, and I'm like,
shit, I need to do this.
Shit, I haven't done any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was on the beach, set my leadership team, set a meeting for the day I got back to start going over core values. And I started writing out the core values I thought. I told each person that I put in the leadership group that I needed 5 traits that they looked at a person with MMG of what that person carries.
Mm-hmm.
And that there was such a big turn in the company that we then knew what we were hiring by, what we were firing by, and what it took to move forward.
Yep. Each business should have their own goals and core values that they need to explain to everybody that's working with them. Like that book, I was told that if you're a business owner, you need to read that book at least once a year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of books that you need to read.
I have 2 copies of it back there.
Yeah. I literally have a copy in my office. I have a copy at my house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sometimes if I'm having business issues, I just grab those kind of books and I just start reading them. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, it humbles me pretty fast.
Yeah.
And the business owner that thinks they do all right and they can't learn anymore, I think that's a problem in society today. It's the way that people have been taught and the way that we've operated now is you go through elementary school, you go K through 12, you get through high school, everything. Some people go off to college, and then the day that they leave, they stop learning.
Yep.
The progression line ends.
Mm-hmm.
And 25-year-old Dane thought he knew a lot. 25-year-old Dane was an idiot.
Yeah.
That dude did not know shit. And it was 2 years in business and losing a lot of money that I've burned $1 million pretty much in 4 years getting MMG off the ground.
Yeah.
And half of that was my money. I figured out how to go after investor money, and there's been a lot of growth and a lot of drive in that. There's been loans out on that. There's been a lot of it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of money that was burned for a lot of lessons.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest lesson was that I always have to keep learning, that there's no way, shape, or form. I go sit with guys that are light years ahead of myself. I'm like, how do I get to where I'm 50% of this guy?
Yeah. My grandpa always told me that the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. Mm-hmm. You need to keep that momentum going.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think business, a lot of times once people figure out how to make a little bit of money, they think they got it figured out.
Yeah. No, not at all.
I tell the leadership team, I tell the office, every single time we figure out one problem, we're leading ourselves into a bigger problem that we're going to run into. Mm-hmm. And then we get to conquer it, and we get new problems.
On to the next problem.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's I think that's the fun of it.
Yeah. So a couple more questions and we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So what is next? Not for MMG, but for you. What's next? What do you got? What do you got in the works that you can talk about for you? Because we already know MMG's growing. We talked about it on this podcast. But what do you want to do?
I do want to become a father soon. Mm-hmm. It is something that's on my works.
Talk about game changer. I got 2 kids. Woo.
Yeah. It's something that I'm also very much, everything happens when it's supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm not pressing the envelope super hard on it, but when it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I really look forward to, being able to shape somebody and help somebody grow.
Yeah.
And
you talk about life changing, man. I was, young buck, like you, like I'm a little bit older, but it's just like you don't have kids. It's just a different mindset. When you have kids, you're just like, all right, I'm taking care of these little kids. Like this, like your whole mentality shifts. Like I want to make this world and them or this place better for them, and it's just a whole different mindset. I
definitely, I have quite a few friends and high-level business players that have kids, and they say that they're like the way that you are now. They go, when you get kids, they're like, your drive.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
They said they're like, you're going to be a force to reckon with. They said the only thing that they're like, we fear is that you have kids and they're like, you're going to unlock a whole nother level that they're like, most people don't even see what that next level even looks like until they have kids.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think about, but it's true.
And the thing is, like, I think talking with a lot of people that have kids, they think their timeline's outside of their lifetime. And I've always thought that way, even though I don't have kids yet.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have kids yet, I'm building a future for my kids. And it's like, it's weird to talk about that when you don't have kids yet.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's the way I've always thought about it. That's the way that my mind's always kind of operated. So that's definitely one thing I'm looking at. I want to make a bigger impact on Kansas City and a bigger impact to help more people. And I definitely have I'm exploring some consulting deals right now. I'm going to get into some higher level business consulting that I have a lot of high level players around us. And I'm actually starting to explore writing a book. I want to write a book that a lot of what you read is not about the front side of business. You get a lot of very developed business owners speaking on things that are much further down the road. Yeah. So I'm going to say probably the first 3 years in business, I really struggled finding something to read on that helped me. Yeah. That I had the tangible takeaways to move the needle. And I want to build something to help more entrepreneurs and more business owners get off the ground and what they need to be focused on. And it's really easy. I mean, I'm 1 year in business. I'm reading things that are talking about operations of like 1,000 people. And I'm like, how the fuck does this correlate to what I'm doing? I'm in my basement. I'm like,
I have 3 people.
Yeah. Great. I like it. But I want to talk about the first 3 years of business. I want to talk about the first 3 employees. I want to talk about the first 3 accounts. You're
right. There's not a lot of stuff like that out there.
It's not. And I think the one thing that we've done really well as a business is a lot of marketing agencies, when they scale, they jump ship on the smaller business owners. But that's what built the walls around them. The walls of MMG were built on small business owners. So I will never jump ship on them. So I want to get into business consulting to help more of them break through that first 3 years and really figure out what business movement looks like. And personally, I want to get into a lot of the private equity backing. I want to get to where taking ownership in more things and really helping people move forward. But
that's awesome.
I see a big void in that around here. You see a lot more of it coastal side.
There's not a lot of like big investment groups around here. Not at all.
Salt Lake has a lot, Utah area, and I have a lot of buddies from there that kind of look at what they're doing. And a lot of business owners don't understand the financial world. They don't understand how to leverage money. They don't understand that.
Your money make you money.
In a way, but you also have to get to a spot where you're making money. Yeah. So on the front side, sometimes you have to leverage money to get into a profitable state. And that's where I'm very big on figuring out what acquisition of one costs. Yeah. And a lot of times you look at it in like e-com world, like I see e-com people fail all the time. They're like, it costs me, if I'm selling a $100 product, I have $25 of profit, and it costs me $50 to acquire that person. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense. Actually, it does. But you have to become better at retaining that client. So you're gonna take a loss on the front side to acquire the clients, to bring them in, but you have to make sure your product's so good that you're gonna hold a 75% retention coming back. And then after the third purchase, you are profitable. But then you have that person coming back all the time to purchase. That's where I very much like the world of being able to, everything we do, we don't take one-off jobs. Yeah. Media world fails all day, every day, because they take one-off stuff, and it's not sustainable. I literally had 2 guys reach out to me this morning on different one-off projects. One guy had a $5,000 project. One guy had a $15,000 project. I said no to both of them. $20,000 grab right now for my company doesn't make sense. Yeah. It messes up my process. It moves people around that doesn't need to happen. We take on retainer work. I took on 9 clients in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. that base side, the low end of any of those clients is $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 a year. That's scalable. I don't have to go hunt for that work next week. I don't have to go hunt for that work next month. I don't have to go hunt for it next year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, when I sit with businesses, I understand that the money movement, I understand really what scale looks like, and from the e-com side to scalability to a client in whatever it may be, that figure out how to make your product or service better to where you can lose in the front side purchase for them, but if you're retaining them, you then gain that retainer client. So it's just I look at it as, when I spend ad dollars, if somebody told me I could have a client and you'll give me a client today and it costs me $6,000, I'll give you a $6,000 check for him. If that client makes me $60,000 in the next 12 months, and why would I not do that?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the difference of people playing a small game to a big game.
Yeah. So my last question to you. So people that are, because you've been in the marketing world and under the business and stuff like that, and you've seen the ups and downs, and you've seen a lot of businesses grow or not grow at all. What would be your piece of advice to a new business or anyone that's tuning in? Kind of like, what would you tell people? Kind of like, what are the couple things that make a business grow? I know there's like 1,000 things.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'd say really refine your product and service, whatever it is, to make sure it's something that people truly want.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come back for.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that a great product and a great service will always outsell marketing. And you're never going to hear marketing people say that.
Yeah.
And they're always going to say, marketing is what makes the world go around. People have shitty product and shitty service. We're not going to be able to outmarket it.
Yeah.
I promise you that. So it's like, that holds the very top of it. I'm going to say being very open-minded, being open to constructive criticism. That I think that's what I struggle with a lot in the front side of the business, was the early days was not being open to the criticism that people were giving me.
Yeah.
But I also had a lot of walls built up that I didn't know who to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the early days of business, and a lot of business owners experience a lot of noise. You open a business.
Everybody wants a piece of it. Everybody's giving you advice.
Everyone wants to give you advice.
Yeah, everybody. I get people all the time coming in. You need to do this. You need to do that. It's like a daily thing.
Really?
So it's like you don't know who to listen to.
I had everybody and their mother trying to tell me how to do business when I first opened up, and it was, I didn't know who to listen to, so I really just kind of stopped listening to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of put up these walls around myself. I was like, I'm just going to do it my way. My way wasn't working. But I really started focusing on who are the people that are actually doing it.
Yeah.
That it's easy for people to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I could get on here and, I mean, regardless of what I've done, like, I want whatever I speak about, go check it out on social. Go check out what we're doing. Come by the office. That speaks for itself.
Yeah.
This here's just words.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys are putting in the work.
A lot of people can go out there and bullshit around, and I started really focusing on the people, like, what does their business really look like? What does their life look like? What does their home life look like?
Mm-hmm.
That the guys I seek mentorship with are the guys that have a great home life, that are great fathers, that are great husbands, that are great friends. That those are the guys I was seeking out. I've had guys come my way that have more money than God, that cheat on their wives all day, every day, that have no relationship with their kids. And
those are the people you don't want to be doing.
I'm not going to take money from that person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit at the table with that person.
Yeah.
I have no way in my life do I want it to look like theirs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take that pathway.
Yeah.
So my deal is, I think as an early business owner, the biggest thing you can do is, like, look at the people that are really doing it. And I'm talking not just from the business forefront, but their whole life.
Yeah.
Dissect that person all the way through. And when you meet those people, you meet people with the right morals and ethics, that they're raising kids that are good for the next generations. They're building businesses with the right morals and ethics to help other people. That I have groves of businesses behind us that when we do charitable things, that they're the first ones to step up to help. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, some of the guys with the most money out there, you ask them for a $5,000-$10,000 table at a charity deal, they're like, "No, I'm out."
Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
I'm like, dude, you're wearing a $100,000 watch.
So this is for charity, and you're helping somebody out.
Yeah, and you can write it off, like for real, like, and it's like. Also on a charitable side, I think it gets to a spot that I have so many people reach out to us all day, every day for things now that it is kind of, I do have to say no to stuff.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But I've really honed in on, like, we're with PAL, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and Folds of Honor. So, like, we do all Folds of Honor Kansas City now.
Yeah.
And Alex Sexton, she was on our podcast last night. Savannah with them. Larry, phenomenal group of people. Mm-hmm. And I like the cause behind it.
Yeah.
It's a lot bigger movement. That there's somebody out there that is going through something that I've never experienced. That you have a child out there that's lost one of their parents, and if it's a first responder, if it's a military personnel, whatever it may be, like I haven't experienced that, but if there's something we can do to help ease that burden on a kid with PAL, I mean, a lot of these people think about the things that happen in third world countries. Yeah. That's happening in downtown Kansas City.
I donate a lot of my time and whatever money I can donate to First Responder Support Network. So I feel you on that. So that one's more of, that helps first responders get the therapy they need when they're experiencing PTSD and stuff
Which,
like
that. The thing is, like, even, I mean, through you, I would be down to say, hey, what does it look like for us to help them out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where,
no.
like,
I'm actually doing a charity event next year, like April or May. So I'll definitely reach out because it's.
So I look at things like that, like how do we put something out to make that bigger, to, if we can change one person's life. Like, and that's a lot of times I think people look at these huge numbers, which Folds of Honor was in the office and they were talking about the money that they raised from Anheuser-Busch, and it's equivalent to, it was like $28 million in the last year or since they started, and it's equivalent to like 5,200 scholarships. Like, that's a big number.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people's lives that are changed. But I also think sometimes when people listen to that, they think it's all so big that they can't do.
Yeah, that doesn't, like, their money ain't going to do anything.
They're not big enough to make a difference.
Yeah.
That the more singular individuals that get involved to make a difference in our world and whatever it may be, the better world we create.
Yep.
And are we making a monster impact?
You're helping somebody.
We're helping somebody. And that's why I look at it as, like, our shirts, that's equivalent to $48,000 to $60,000 a year on like donation side. But then it's also like, I'm on the board. Like, I go there every month, like for PAL, like Folds. Like, I'd love for a position to open on the board there to get with Folds. Like Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Like, we do consulting for them. So their marketing team comes into our office pretty often. So we help on their ad forefront. And there's just all those things that I feel like that's a bigger purpose in life.
Yeah.
And my podcast, I always talk about, if people live in life, I don't know if you read much of Patrick Bet-David.
The book you told me to read, I got
Next 5 Moves.
Yep.
So he talks about you live in survival, you get to status, you get to freedom, you get to purpose. And I think a lot of business owners get into status and they make a bunch of money and they live in status forever.
Yep.
And you get into freedom of what unlocking time looks like. And then the true movement in life is figuring out purpose. And I feel when we can make a difference in other people's lives, that right now, this is the first year that I'm looking at donating everything next month and to bringing Santa Claus into the office and building a huge deal out so the kids of PAL and Big Brothers, Big Sisters and all them can come see Santa at the office. Yeah,
we do it here. We do like a Santa photo shoot here, and kids will come in and get to take a picture and everything. So
so it's like I look at those things that's big, and it's like I even want to set something up, like if we can get enough business owners involved, like when the kids come see Santa, they get presents while they're there.
Yeah,
like I feel like that would be cool. Like, and it's funny, the office there a lot of times they're talking about work, they're talking about onboarding accounts, they're talking about all this stuff. Like, this week I've been out Christmas like decoration shopping. Like
I saw that in your story. It's like, hey, I put my trees up and everything November 1st. Yeah. I was like, I am ready. It's my favorite holiday.
But it's funny, like when I was out doing that all week, and people think I've been working. Like that's what I've been doing. I just signed on a new office. I'm like measuring places over there. I'm playing interior designer this week. I'm setting up for Christmas, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like that's the movement.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate
you. Finally got you on. I've been on your podcast, and you get to be on mine.
Yeah. I was one text away.
Yeah.
I actually do now have a little bit of control over my schedule. So.
Finally.
Yeah.
And then I know your business is doing well, and I wish you nothing but the best. I love
you too.
I'm one of your people that I love seeing you grow. I like, because I consider you a friend, and I'm a big person where I want to see the people I know and like, I want to see them grow, and I want you to find all your success that you can. I love it. I love seeing people do well. So
I will say that I went to a big event that I paid a shit ton of money to be at with a lot of big players, and all the big names that people follow on Instagram, they're all there. You look at the Andy Frisellas of the world, the Ed Miletts, the Bradleys, the Muscle, Rob Bailey, Andy Elliott, all those guys were there. And one of the biggest things that they all talked about was if you can't root for someone else's success, you'll never find success yourself.
Very true.
And my thing is, the weird thing is I want other people to succeed more than myself.
Yep. It's like I get more pleasure in seeing other people succeed that I've helped or that I like, just like, oh, man, keep doing your thing.
I really don't have a problem with other people succeeding that I don't like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
It's just a respect for the game.
Yeah.
It's a respect for life.
The respect for the hustle.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's understanding how to do it. And I know it doesn't come easy. So when people win, like.
Yeah, because me and you know, like the hard work that's put into it. So it's just like, you love seeing like, oh, I'm glad that they got off the ground. I'm glad they're moving and grooving.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's the people that do it the wrong way, it always catches up to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, but the thing is, if you're going to go up and you're going to belly up to the table and you're going to bet, I'll always shake someone's hand that's sitting at the table at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I may not agree with how you're doing it, but I'm not saying my way is right.
Yeah.
And I don't think any one way is correct. I look at it as I do it my way, and I'm going to try to be a good person as I do it. And,
yeah. No, I think you're doing the right way.
I appreciate that.
Of course,
man.
Man.
You're definitely killing it here, and
trying.
I appreciate the friendship. A lot of respect for what you've done, and I can see the eye, I can see the vision.
Yeah,
and
I need you to just get down here a little bit more. I need you to find some free time.
The hard thing is I've bought into all these different places. I have lockers, all this different stuff, and it's just like I don't peel off enough, and I really need to more. But it's also something that I'm looking at this next year of having like a full-time content creator with me all the time.
Yeah.
That I can then start, because I look at that time as if I come here for 2 hours, if we can include content in it and it can leverage your business and help your business more, and it can help these places that I'm at, it can help create the movement more, it can help all these different things. My wife keeps my personal life pretty booked out.
Same with my wife.
So it's
I just ask her, what are we doing this weekend? Just let me know when I need to take off work.
My wife gets with my assistant at the office to put it all on my calendar. So if it's not on my calendar, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And but I hate that in a way, but I also love it in a way that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do get to optimize my time, and but it's all good. And I think the coolest thing about all of business is getting to sit down and do things like this.
Oh yeah. So tell people how they can find you or how they can contact you.
You can find us any social platform. Instagram, I'm on there all day, every day. Not myself. I got a team that runs it all now. But I am trying to work on my personal stuff a little more. It's not impressive, so I'll be up front with that.
Yeah.
MMG stuff is where my focus has been for 4.5 years. Facebook, you can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on YouTube. M3 Podcast, if you want to check out that too. If
great podcast, yeah.
Do what?
It's a great podcast.
Yeah. It's don't listen to the first like 20 or 30. They're pretty shitty. Like I was not very good.
Yeah, I don't know where I was, but hopefully I was on the first 20
You were
or 30.
Definitely not there. That was basement time, and I'm not going to say we're good yet, but I'm going to say we're getting better.
You guys are doing your shit. Don't worry about that, man.
Yeah, if you want to check out anything, and like I said, we don't sell anything. If you're interested in marketing, I'm always down to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. If anything, I tell I have probably 5 to 8 meetings a day in my office myself still. We probably have 5 to 8 on the sales side nowadays also. And if anything, if you come in and you learn something that a business owner can take away and they can go do a little bit better themselves, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So
cool. Well, I appreciate you, man. I know you got a busy schedule probably the rest of the day.
Actually, I'm going home to I do have to shower after this because
smell like cigars.
My wife's not going to appreciate it. But
my wife always told me, it's like, if I don't come home smelling like cigars and bourbon, she's like, where the hell you been?
Yeah. Yeah, we drink bourbon and smoke cigars on my podcast too. So she doesn't like cigars, but we have courtside seats tonight for the Duke game.
Oh, yeah.
And Iowa.
Is that tonight?
It's Duke and K-State, and I think Iowa and Arkansas. And so we're going to go down to Bristol here in a little bit and have some celebratory drinks for the new office. And then
congrats to you, man. Yeah, awesome, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, please share. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms at Strawberry Hill Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we are out.
Goodbye, everybody.